Good morning. Today we are going to discuss concurrency control in databases and two-phase locking. The purpose of concurrency control is to enforce isolation or mutual exclusion among conflicting transactions, to preserve database consistency through consistency preserving exclusion of transactions, to resolve read-write and write-write conflicts. Example: in concurrent execution environment, if T1 conflicts with T2 over a data item A, then the existing concurrency control decides if T1 or T2 should get A and if the other transaction is rolled back or waits. The two-phase locking scheme is like this. Locking is an operation which secures permission to read, permission to write a data item for a transaction. Example: lock of X means a data item X is locked on behalf of the requesting transaction. Suppose that a transaction wants an item X, either it is reading or writing, then for doing that you have to acquire the lock. Okay, unlocking is an operation which removes this permission from the data item. That means after reading or writing the operation, you can unlock that variable. Unlock X means data item X is made available to all other transactions. Lock and unlock are atomic operations. Two-phase locking, essential components. Continuing, two lock modes are there: shared and exclusive lock. That means more than one transaction can read a variable at the same time. That means the value is not changing. So in that case, you can share a read lock. That means a number of transactions can read a data item. So read lock can be shared. Okay, but write lock is exclusive. That means when you are writing a data item, no other transaction is either allowed to read or write. Okay, so that is called exclusive lock or write lock. Shared mode, more than one transaction can apply share lock on X for reading its value, but no write lock can be applied on X by any other transaction. Exclusive lock means only one write lock on X can exist at any time and no shared lock can be applied by any other transaction on X. Conflict matrix, that means a read and write possible, read and write, write and write, read and write, write and read. All these combinations are not allowed. That means a read lock can be shared among any number of transactions, but if you have a read lock, then no other transaction is allowed to write. If you have a write lock, no other transaction is allowed either to write or to read. In two-phase locking, you should have a lock manager. That means managing locks on data items. That means for controlling, you should have a lock manager, and we have another component which is a lock table. Lock manager uses it to store the identity of transaction locking the data item, the lock mode, and pointer to the next data item. That means the structure is like this: transaction ID, that means a transaction in which you are going to use the data item, then the name of the data item, the lock mode, whether it is reading or writing, and pointer to the next data item. That means here you are going to implement this as a linked list. That means if you have a node in a linked list, that node is having the information like transaction ID, data item, lock mode, and pointer to next data item. That means that will grow. If you have a number of locks, that is growing, and if you are unlocking, then you are going to delete that node from the linked list. Two-phase locking, database requires all the transactions should be well formed. A transaction is well formed. A transaction means you have a set of read as well as write statements in it, and it is well formed if it must lock the data item before it reads or writes to it. That means before reading or writing a data item, you have to acquire the lock, or you have to have the lock. It must not lock an already locked item, and it must not try to unlock a free data item. That means if it is already locked, there is no need to lock it again, and if it is already free, there is no need to unlock it again. The following code performs a lock operation. That means lock of x is equal to 0 means that is unlocked. Then lock x is equal to 1. That means if that is if it is unlocked, you have to lock it. Else, what you have to do? You have to wait until lock of x becomes 0 or until lock is unlocked. That means if lock is if a lock is not locked, if a lock is already locked, that means you have to wait it for in the unlocked state. Okay. The following code performs unlock operation. That means lock of x is equal to 0. That means if lock of x equal to 0, that means it is unlocked, and lock of x is equal to 1, that means it is locked. And if any transaction are waiting, then wake up one of the waiting transactions. That means if after unlocking, if suppose that a number of transactions are waiting to acquire this lock, then any one of the waiting transaction has to be waken up. That means it is giving that transaction instruction to wake up. Okay. The following code performs a read operation. That means if lock of x is unlocked, suppose that the lock variable is unlocked, then you have to set it as a read lock. And as it is a shared lock, that means if it is already a read lock, then can again you can use that. That means a number of reads can be performed on the same data item, but writes are not allowed. So begin lock x is equal to read lock means you have locked the data item and the number of reads is equal to 1. That means only one transaction is using that. Only one transaction is using that variable. And else if lock is equal to lock of x is read lock. If it is already read lock, that means if it is already read lock, then again we can then number of reads is number of reads plus 1. That means one more transaction is allowed to access that variable. That means if it is already read lock, then you are again trying to acquire that lock, then you can do it. That means number of reads x assigned equal to number of reads x plus 1. That means one more transaction is allowed to read. Else begin wait until lock of that means either if it is not relocked or if it is already write locked, then it has to wait. Okay. That is about locking for the read operation, and this is locking for the write operation. If it is already unlocked, then lock of x can be set to write lock. Else, otherwise, it has to wait for lock x to become unlocked. Okay. This one performs an unlock operation. That means if lock of x is already unlocked, if it is write lock, then begin lock x is equal to unlock. That means if it is write lock, then you have to make lock of x is equal to unlock and wake up one of the transactions if any. Else, suppose that it is not write lock, if it is read lock, then number of, suppose that if you are after using a read operation by one of the transaction, if it wants to unlock, that means many transactions are maybe sharing the same read lock. In that case, you have to decrement the number of reads by 1. And after that, if the number of reads becomes 0, then you have to set this lock of x as unlocked. Then after that, wake up one of the transactions if any. Okay. And lock conversion. Lock conversion means there is lock upgrading and lock downgrading. Suppose that you have a read log, and the number of reads is 1. That means if you have a transaction and in that transaction you have acquired, suppose that you have acquired a read log and the number of reads is 1, means you have a read log and the current transaction is only using that. And suppose that if you want to have a write log on it, you can upgrade this read log to write log. The condition is you should acquire the read log and no other transaction is using that read log. In that case, you can upgrade that read log to write log. Otherwise, force Ti to wait until Tj unlocks it. Suppose that some other transaction is using that read log, then we have to wait for the other transaction to unlock X so that you can use it. Okay. Now log downgrade means existing write log to read log. Suppose that the writing process is over and now you can unlock it. Suppose that you want the read log of it, then you can convert your write log to read log. Convert write log to read log. Okay. Two-phase locking algorithm. The algorithm is like this. There are two phases: locking phase and unlocking phase. Locking phase means that is the growing phase, and unlocking phase is the swinging phase. In the locking phase, a transaction applies locks on desired data items one at a time. That means in the growing phase, you may be using a number of data items at the same time. So initially you have to acquire the log, and then after that, in the stringing phase, you are unlocking those data items one at a time. For a transaction, these two phases must be mutually exclusively during locking phase. Unlocking phase must not start, and during unlocking phase, locking phase must not begin. For a transaction, these two phases must be mutually exclusive. That means during locking phase, unlocking phase must not start, and during unlocking phase, locking phase must not begin. That means there is a growing phase and there is a swinging phase, and in the growing phase you should have only lock statements, and once the first unlock statement begins, then after that no more locking is allowed. Okay, that means all the locking statements should precede all the unlocking statements. Two-phase locking the algorithm. Initially, here in T1 you have read log Y, read item Y, unlock Y, read log X, write log X, read item X, X assigned equal to X plus Y, write item X and unlock X. That means here that means the third statement of T1 is unlock Y, and after that there is a write log. So this is not following two-phase locking procedure. That means this is not allowed. The first unlock statement is in statement number 3, and after that no more locking is allowed. This is not following two-phase locking. Here also, after the third statement in transaction T2 also, after the third statement, the fourth statement is unlock Y, write log Y, and third statement is unlock X. That means this is also not following two-phase locking. Read log Y, read item Y, unlock Y, and after that T2 is executing. In T2 you have read log X, then after that unlock write log Y, and after T2 is executed, and again coming back to T1, and there you have a write lock X. See, in the first transaction T1 you have unlock Y, and then after that write lock X, and in T2 you have unlock X and write lock Y. This is not serializable because it violated the two-phase policy. Here two-phase policy is violated by T1 and T2. Now this is two-phase locking technique. T1 dash and T2 dash. See, in T1 dash you have read lock Y, write lock X, then after that unlock Y, and finally you have unlock X. In T2 dash you are acquiring both the locks read lock X and write lock Y initially, after that unlock X, and after that unlock Y. That means if it is in two-phase lock mode, then you have to acquire all the locks, or you have to acquire all the locks, and after the first unlock there is no locking is allowed. See, two-phase policy generates two locking algorithms: basic mode and conservative mode. In conservative mode, it prevents deadlock by locking all desired data items before transaction before execution. That means in a transaction, what are the locks? Suppose that you have three variables X, Y and Z. You have to acquire the locks of that. So then in conservative mode, before starting the transaction, you have to acquire all the locks. So that is called conservative. In basic mode, transaction locks data items incrementally. This may cause deadlock which is dealt with. That means the data items are locked as and when it is needed. So after the first unlock, there is no locking is allowed. Okay. In strict mode, a more stringent version of basic algorithm where unlocking is performed after a transaction terminates, either commit or abort. That means it is a basic algorithm. That means it is locking data items as and when it is needed, but it is unlocking it only after a transaction terminates. This is the most commonly used two-phase locking algorithm. Now we are dealing with deadlock and starvation. Deadlock means here you have acquired a lock and waiting for another lock, and so that means one transaction is acquiring a lock and waiting for another lock, and some other transaction is waiting for one lock. It is acquiring one lock and waiting for another lock. See, here in this case, transaction T1, it has read locked Y, and in T2 it is waiting for. That means T1 dash has not unlocked any unlocked Y, and at the same time T2 dash is waiting for the lock Y, write lock Y, but it is not it cannot be acquired because it is read locked by T1 dash. See, T2 dash is read locked the data item X, and in T1 dash it is waiting for X to be write locked. That means in T1 dash and T2 dash, in T1 dash you have a read locked Y and waiting for the write lock of X, and at the same time in T2 dash it has a read locked X and waiting for a write lock on Y. But these two cannot happen. Why? That means T as Y is read locked by T1 dash, that is not available for T2 dash. As X is read locked by T2 dash, it is not available for T1 dash. Okay. So this is called deadlock. T1 and T2 follow two-phase policy, but they are deadlocked. So how deadlock can be prevented? A transaction locks all data items it refers to before it begins execution. This way of locking prevents deadlock since a transaction never waits for a data item. The conservative two-phase locking uses this approach. That means whatever data item you want to process, you have to acquire all the locks before the starting of the transaction. Okay, that is deadlock prevention. Deadlock detection and resolution. In this approach, deadlocks are allowed to happen. That means it is not preventing deadlock to happen. That means it is allowing deadlocks. The scheduler maintains a wait for graph for detecting cycles, and if a cycle exists, then one transaction involved in that cycle is selected and rolled back. That means if it is creating a cycle, that means a wait for graph is created using a log table. As soon as a transaction is blocked, that means blocked means it is waiting for something, it is added to the graph. When a chain like Ti waits for Tj, Tj waits for Tk, and Tk waits for Ti or Tj, then that means there occurs a cycle, and in that case one of the transaction Ti, Tj or Tk is allowed to roll back. Okay, that means one of them is selected as a victim and that is allowed to roll back so that the other transaction can continue. Then this is deadlock avoidance. There are many variations of two-phase locking algorithm. Some avoid deadlock by not letting the cycle to complete. This is as soon as the algorithm discovers that blocking a transaction is likely to create a cycle, it rolls back the transaction. Then there are other policies like wound wait and wound die algorithms use timestamp to avoid deadlocks by rolling back victim. Okay, that we will discuss later. Okay, thank you.